Hi, Guitar Man Chillin' here. We're going on with the fifth lesson today. So what we're going to be going over is the second form bar chord. And in lesson 4, we went over the first form bar chord and some other things. We learned how to make the, derived from the E chord, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, and run chords all the way up the neck. We learned, remember we learned our major, our minor, our sevenths, our minor sevenths. So we're going to do the same thing with our second form bar chord today. So let's get on with it. The A chord, the open A chord, is typically played like this. Okay, it's played with the open E, the high E on the first string. You got the first finger on the second fret. You've got the second finger on the third string, second fret. And you've got the third finger on the fourth string, second fret. So all the second, third, fourth strings are all pushed down on the second fret. The high E is open, and that's the A chord. Okay, that's the open A chord. Okay, so now with the bar chord, with the second form bar, it's based off of the open A, but we're going to play, because we're going to turn it into a bar chord, we're going to play the A chord like this. So we're going to bar the second, third, and fourth strings with this third finger on the second fret. Okay. Now, while you're learning this second form bar chord, don't worry about this high note, the first string ringing out. You're probably not going to be able to do it for quite a while because it always seems to get muffled. And don't worry about that, because that happens to be like in this A chord, that's an E note. You already have an E note in this chord, which in this case is right here on the fourth string, second fret. So we're not omitting any notes. You still have the E in there. You just don't need this extra one. And if you get to get it down later and you can throw it in where you need it, great. At any rate, so that's what we're going to do. And now we have the first finger open for our bar. So let's move the A chord up to here. Let's move it up to the third fret, and let's bar the first fret. And we can help the first finger out that's doing the barring with the second if we need to, by kind of over clamping it and pushing down. Okay? It gives it more strength. It gives your first finger more strength to push down. And you kind of turn your arm inward towards your neck, and that allows you to apply more pressure with your first finger. So try that. Try tilting your elbow in towards your neck up here, your elbow inward, and see if that doesn't help you out with that chord. Okay? Because it's kind of annoying to get down. Okay, so anyway, as we move the A, open A chord up one fret, now we're at the B flat. Okay, now the root note of the chord is the fifth string. So if you have the A note, A is open, that is the root note. You move it up to here, now we're barring it. Now the fifth string, first fret, is a B flat. So now we get a B flat chord, or A sharp. Remember? A sharp. Okay. You move it up where you're barring the first fret, or the second fret. Now we have a B chord. Okay, and there's a B note. Fifth string, second fret is a B note. Okay. Now remember to refer back to your fretboard chart that I showed you. And I showed you where to copy that off at. And now we're going to be working on the fifth string. Okay, you have to memorize those notes. You're going to need to know them. Okay, on the fifth string. Okay, there's the first string. It's the high E string. Okay. Now, so when you get those notes down, you're going to need to memorize them so you can know the name of your chord that you're hitting when you're on it. So let's start again. A chord, A sharp, B on the second fret, barring the third fret. Third fret. Now that fifth string is a C. That's a C chord. Move it up another fret. So now we're barring the fourth fret. Now we have a C sharp. Fifth bar the fifth fret, we've got a D. Bar the sixth fret, we've got a D sharp. Bar the seventh fret, we've got an E. Bar the eighth fret, we've got an F. Bar the ninth fret, we've got an F sharp. Bar the 10th fret, we've got a G sharp, and then A on the 12th fret. Now, A is where we started. Open A chord, 12th fret, bar. Same chord, an octave apart. Open A on the 12th fret. Okay, so A sharp, B, C, I'm barring the third fret. C sharp, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and A on the 12th fret. Okay. Now, let's move on to making the minor 7th and the 7ths. Okay, so just like with our first form, where I showed you how to do that, we can do that with the second form bar chord also. So let's move up to the C chord, which is barring the 3rd fret, and then adding the rest of the notes, okay, on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. Okay, so that is a C chord. Now, to make it a C minor, you take it and you put your 2nd finger on the 4th fret, 2nd string. You put your 4th finger on the 3rd fret, on the 3rd string, 5th fret. You put your 3rd finger on the 4th string, 5th fret. So now we've got a minor chord. We still bar all the strings here on the 3rd fret. Okay, there's our root note. It's the 5th string. We're pushing down on a C. And so that is the C minor chord. Okay, so we've got our C major, which we learned just a minute ago. And then we've got our minor. They have different sounds. Okay, now let's go on. Now remember, the C minor is the same as the major. You can move it right up the neck. C minor, C sharp minor, D minor, D sharp minor, E minor, F minor. You know. So at any rate, it's they're all magical like that. You can move them right up. That's what's cool about bar chords. Now let's go back to the C chord, C major. We've got our C minor. I just taught you. Now let's go to the C7. Actually, since we're already holding our fingers like this on the minor, okay, which was the 4th fret, 2nd string. We've got and barred on the 3rd fret, Then we got the 2nd finger, 2nd string, 4th fret. We've got the 4th finger, 5th fret, 3rd string. We've got the 3rd finger on the 5th fret, 4th string. Okay, our minor chord. Now, lift your 4th finger, and what do you got? You got a minor 7th. So, minor, C minor, C minor 7th. Now I'm letting the high E ring out. Here's with omitting the high E. You just don't get that high E sound. So at any rate, but that is the minor to the minor 7th. Okay, so now let's go back and grab the 7th chord. The 7th chord is, remember we started at our C major right here, 2nd form bar chord. Now to get your 7th, you put your 4th finger down on the 2nd string, 5th fret. You have the 3rd string just barred by your 1st finger here. Then you put your 3rd finger down on the 5th fret, 4th string. And that's your C7. So, C7, C sharp 7, D7, D sharp 7, E7, F7, F sharp 7, G7, you get it. You go right up and down the neck like that. And remember, once again, on all these major, minor, 7ths of the 2nd form, your root note is still right here. The name of the chord is still right here. Whatever you're barring on your 5th string is the root note of the chord. So that is a C note, and that is a C chord. That is a C minor chord. That's a C minor 7. That's a C7. Root note never changes. Okay, so that's a lot of work there. Just like on the first form bar chord, it probably took you quite a while to get down. Now, this 2nd form will take you a little bit of time again. It's going to take some pretty heavy work to get this one down. I think it's a little harder because you kind of have your fingers twisted up a bit to get down the 2nd form bar chord, but it's well worth it. It's a great chord. And so, let's see what kind of time we got going. Okay, we got some time left. Let's now, if you're wondering, well, now you've shown me this 1st form bar chord, the 2nd form bar chord, but how do I work with them? How do I make anything sound like something? Well, without giving you exact chords here at this time, what I'd like you to do is like on your 1st form bar chord. If you've worked around with it a little bit and you feel you're getting a little comfortable with the chord and the 2nd form, which you're working on right now, you can do simple riffs like this. Go 4 beats on each chord. Just start like with your 1st form. Start with your open E and your 1st finger open, because you're ready to bar. Then go 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, F sharp, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, same thing with the second form. A, you open A, leaving your first finger ready to bar. First finger ready to bar, okay? So A chord, A sharp, B, and do it the same way. A, 2, 3, 4, B flat, 2, 3, 4, or A sharp, same difference. Excuse me. A sharp, we got B, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, C sharp, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, B sharp, 2, 3, 4, B, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you get it. So, and once you practice them like that, and you're feeling a little more comfortable, then try sliding them around. Go like G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, A, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't matter what chords you're playing, just make sure you're playing the proper name of the chords so you're not learning them all sideways, you know what I mean? So make sure you're on an actual G chord when you're playing, when you're saying and playing it to yourself. G, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, B, 2, 3, 4, A sharp, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4. And make sure all your notes are ringing out. And if you're not, fix your chord. Work on it some more and fix it up. Okay, do the same thing with your, and when you feel comfortable, do the same thing with your second form bar chord. When you feel comfortable enough to mix both of them together, just, you can even do it in your mind. Just think of some chords. Go G, 2, 3, 4. And then go to the second form, D, 2, 3, 4. Second form, C, 2, 3, 4. G, first form, 2, 3, 4. B, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4. And just mix them up, combine them around. Try hopping around if you feel like you're starting to be a badass with them, you know? Go B, C, A, D. You know, however you want to work with them. Just make sure you're not getting sloppy and make sure you're playing them as correct as you can for now. So, you know, that's pretty much it for this lesson. Trying to think of anything, we've got a little time, I'm just trying to think of anything that I could add into this that without confusing you so early in the game. I can tell you, I'll give you a little head start. On the next lesson, I think I'm going to move on to how to make a major seventh, which is no big deal from a bar chord, and give you a little bit, maybe start you on a little theory about how these chords are you know, arranged, how they're you know, how they're constructed, the theory behind it. One of the first things you'll learn is we're going to have to go through this scale. We're going to have to learn the major scale, and a scale that you can easily run up and down the neck. And so there's a few things. The scale goes like this. One of the scales that'll get you a long way faster. Okay, once you learn that scale, you can and learn the notes in it at each position. Like this is a G scale. Okay, and it's 2 octaves worth of it. That's actually octave. That's 1 octave, A to A, and then when you do it again, okay, that's another octave. Okay. The second octave. Okay. So, at any rate, then if you take that scale, you move it up 1 note. That's a G sharp scale. Okay. A scale. Whatever this is root note of the scale. A. Now we're back to the A scale. We started on the G. G sharp. And 2 octaves worth. You know, we're going, like I said, 2 octaves. Now, and then up to the A on the 5th fret, starting on the 5th fret, 6th string. Now, when we get to that lesson, I'm going to show you all those notes. I'm going to explain to you how it's done, and I'll have you write it out on your fretboard on one of these chord charts. We can write every single note down as it goes across the strings, and that'll help you out a lot. So, at any rate, that ought to just about do it for this lesson. So, so good luck to you, and thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.